Solid discussion, comrades. Thank you very much, especially to Comrade Royal Sensation. I've been following, I've been listening. You all are comrades, one way or the other. We've worked together. We have sought to have a better nation. We have sought to have a better country. We have sought to ensure that the future of our young people, the future of our old people, the future of all citizens is guaranteed and is assured. I totally agree with you, comrades, that we have to take a stand. And I've said before that in the past we have sought to achieve realignment with the party. We've had discussions. We expected few developments to happen with regards to a formal discussion of some sort, where the party would have said what happened, how do we resolve going forward? As you are talking to me, I know for a fact there are so many comrades whose future has been ruined, whose future were ruined because they supported President Rajim Mugabe, and others took advantage of the new situation to dispossess, to disadvantage many of our friends and many of our comrades. These are issues that weigh heavily upon us. It's also weigh heavily upon me as one of the senior leaders who worked with President Mugabe closely and led many of you. So as you speak, I listen to you. I listen to you attentively, and I know because you want us to succeed. You want us to make a difference for our country. The future does not wait for any one of us. The future is now. It's not tomorrow, it is today. I know for a fact that many of us would want to have been, by now, have taken a position, one way or the other, of moving ourselves in a given direction of some sort. But like I've said, comrade, and in fact, if you remember one of my communications earlier on in the year, if not last year, I spoke passionately about the pain that many of us have gone through and many of us are still going through, but having hope that engaging will make a difference. But what is quite clear is there's no room. That is very clear now. There's no room for the party to engage many of its cadres. The party is tiptoeing. The party would rather have defectors for ED. The party would rather have comrades who are, says, the returnees. We are being divided. We are being pushed around. It's not because they don't know what must be done. It's not because they don't know what should be done for us to rebuild our great party, but because obviously selfish interests have taken over. And this is the situation that we're dealing with. Across the country, comrades would have expected that we discuss this program, this problem with regards to the coup, how it happened, how it affected people, and how we must resolve it inside. I know that as I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking not only to yourselves, but I'm speaking to the country of Zimbabwe. This will be broadcast across the nation. That's not my big problem. I think now the time has come for us to call a spade a spade. I don't think the differences ZANU-PF were that much that should have led to the kind of action that was taken. But that being said, that is what happened. How do we resolve? How do we move forward? This is where we have a tragic failure of leadership. There are things that we look at, the issue of fear within the party, the issue of harassing each other within the party, the issue of labeling each other within the party. So many other comrades today continue to lose their jobs or lose their positions because they are said to be associated with either G40, Kasukuwere, you name it. I'm not one who must be expected to go on my knees to beg for forgiveness. I think there has to be maturity on all angles to say, you can't expect one who was also victimized. Should I go and say, I'm sorry because you missed me? Should I go and say, I'm sorry because this is what you want to do to me? No. But we have been man enough to accept that some of these things must be handled and some of these issues must be dealt with in a much more matured way. There are no crybabies. Comrades, we spent 5 years. Yes, and you know the situation. of how the power was taken and how even people, some comrades, are prepared to protect this using the guns. The question before us today is, are we a country where we can discuss, or even a party where we can discuss our issues as comrades, or are we a party where threats, intimidation continues to be the order of the day? The question is not who leads our country or who leads the party. The question is the process one which we agree to? Are we supporting, are we standing behind something that we all agree to? You ask me, am I dilly-dallying? Am I vacillating? I've never vacillated. I've never deviated from my position, from my disagreement from day one, that what was done wrongly. But I then said we should be able to sit down as fellow countrymen, fellow members of the party, and find a solution, lasting solution, where we're going to be talking about amity between us. But it is a fact that, again, there is no room for that. I think the past few weeks, past few days, you have seen the responses. Yes, there has been issues to say, write letters, apologize. Different circumstances, other comrades have decided to do that, and that's acceptable. This is a democratic right of an individual. What makes me happy is that there is a very huge body of comrades like yourselves who are discussing issues frankly and freely. That is what we'll be able to work on and make an informed decision. Yes, I know we must be in a hurry. I agree, but equally the same. Don't be in too much haste, for you might even meet more challenges in the future. We still have the time, we still have our eyes on how we must resolve our question as Zimbabwe. There's the issue of security of individuals, there's the issue of how all the processes you are proposing should be handled. So I want to assure you, comrades, I'm not blind to the discussions. I'm aware, yes, I've taken this very extraordinary step for the first time today to say, yes, we're leaders. I'm available as one of the comrades. If people say, come and lead, I will not hesitate to do that. I'm not a coward, I'm not a fool, and I'm not scared to do that. But I've given this interview, I've given this address for the first time because no leader must impose himself on the people. No leader must be one who says, it's me, it's me. Leaders, like Comrade Mugabe taught us, must come from the people. Let the people make a decision. Let the clarion call be coming from the people and say, this is what you want. Once you have the support, once we have the agreement by the people, we will be able to move forward. And this is also what I expected, that ZANU-PF at some point was going to sit back and say, comrades, how do we, together, in an inclusive way, resolve our challenges, but move our country and our party in a democratic path going into the future. This is what I know all of you would have wanted to see. But I'm following your discussions, comrade, and I'm not going to be rushing, but I want to thank you very much for the excellent conduct, for the excellent discussions. Leadership is not forced on the people. Leadership comes from the people. I'm heartened because many of you are expressing their hope that if we can work together in this given direction, we'll have a better nation. We need to continue, therefore, to exercise our minds, to exercise our ideas, to discuss without fear nor favor. There should be no labeling, there should be no insult. And I'm saying this because I know this will not end here. It will end up in various groups. In various groups of the party of ZANU-PF and others, let there be discussions. How best do we reposition? There is a generation that came before us. There is a generation that came also before us. The relay is a baton stick, and it should continue to be so. But we do that as a people who are discussing, and in a manner that is respectful of each other. We have tried, and we should say it, to keep our discipline intact, to respect the party, to respect its founding values, which we still associate with, but you also get a feeling that there is no commitment, there is no desire, there is no room for others to come and support. We continue as we speak to see many victims who have lost their land or are those farms being seized because you don't belong to so and so on. Kana usingatera zvatoita chakutorera imba yako, chakutorera purazi rako, chakutorera business rako, chakutanda basa, chokubvisa pachigaro. You will not be promoted at work. Those are things are evil and unacceptable. We've come a long way, comrades. We must defend each other. We must always be there for each other. And I think this prize is not an easy prize that we're looking for. It will be challenging, but we have to do it. We've got to engage. I'm talking about engaging us as we are discussing now. Perhaps the time has now come for us to come out in the open. And whether the consequences are good or bad, damn it, we've got to discuss. Thank you very much.